Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be covering a lot of the changes that happened in Fortnite in terms of POIs, loot, and what I think might actually happen. Now, Fortnite.gg is in progress, is working up, so a lot of the loot actually isn't on the map. So for example, this place down here has way more chests than just one. There's a shit ton of chests in here as well, but I mean, they'll be updated eventually. Now, the biggest change that we can just obviously see are all these Zeppelins all around here. Now, these are going to either have two different impacts. The first one is that people are going to land on there. So let's say we have, let's say in Tilted, I'm thinking about the EU, we have DKS, Bad Sniper, Savage, Benji, and then it was like Clement and Deceptos, I think, for the third trio. Duo, I can't really remember. But what might end up happening is now one of them might claim the Zeppelin here. So one of them lands up top of here. I think Clement and Septo got like this, and then the rest of them fought over here, and then someone would lead here. That's kind of what happened. One will land there, and this team can decide what they want to do. If they're unconned at the Zeppelin, then they get a good amount of loot, decent materials, but they can either A, key down. So let's say that Savage and Benji land in this building here, and DKS and Bad Sniper get all of this. They can either W key Savage and Benji because there are supply crates through here, so you can get some blue weapons, some whatever, some quick shield, and then key down. Or you can use that these little turbines here actually fly up like launch pads. There are also zip lines everywhere as well. You can actually use them to hit something on the outside here. So what might end up happening is that while Tilted is here and it can hold, let's say Tilted can hold 3 teams, without counting the Zeppelin, then we could technically say that Tilted can now hold 4 teams, because a team could land on the Zeppelin and then just use that to fly out and hit other stuff and then go. We might see that in grand finals. Now, we also might see that people might land up here, hit a supply chest, and then key super quickly. It can be super interesting to see what happens. But there's Zeppelins all over the place. There's one here in Rocky. This Zeppelin would be a little bit harder, in my opinion, to actually land on and rotate out, because this is a split and this is a split, so you don't really have any other loot nearby. So what we might see at Rocky is that the person lands here, either fights in Rocky or uses the pads to key one of these places over here. Now, the next Zeppelin, let's talk about down here in Condo. Condo is kind of similar as well. There's not really much loot unless we account for over here, but that's already a part of a split. So what we might see at Condo is they land here, they key this side, or they even just sit up here for Surge. They hit this half of Condo and then they dip. Or they use this and they maybe go back here. I think there's still rifts back here. They can go over here and take some of this. The thing is that they'll have better loot than the teams that land over here, especially because they can just pad out and get to this spot quickly. Now, they could loot up here. There actually isn't much loot in these like blast holes in the map. There's like a few chests and some ammo crates and stuff like that, but it's nothing crazy. Next Zeppelin is Bugle. Now, this is one where I can definitely see being split. It is pretty far away, so you actually can't really get much surge on Bugle unless you position yourself on this side here. It's not in the middle like the other ones. So what I might end up seeing is that you land here, you fly out, and maybe you hit something like there's a lot of chests around here. Maybe you go upwards and you try to loot some of this loot, or maybe you fly out and key Sunny, or you fly over here and key the Nanny and Pump split. Now, let's just quickly talk about these changes, these holes. They usually have some brick and some metal, nothing really big, maybe a chest or two, so it buffs some of these split drops over here. There also is a fair amount of ammo and stuff as well. Now, I think the last Zeppelin is, we have 2 more, Covert and Condo. Now, Condo is definitely one that I can see being split, is that you hit here, and then you fly out somewhere else. So this could easily be a split right here, where the Zeppelin team just keys this. If you land here, they just key you off the rip, and if not, then they just loot all of this and maybe even try to dip down. So the middle of the map is very interesting because there can be a ton of things that can happen. So first off, there's actually a fair amount of loot here. I don't think it will show. So Kami Split did get nerfed because the drill site is gone, so you can't get that pad where you could key gas station really easily. But right here is stacked. There's so much loot in right here. Now, in terms of Kami Split, the loot is mainly just like this, kind of overlapping like that, which isn't that good. I mean, there's still coolers here. But what we might see happening is that Zeppelin might do something like this, and they take all of this. So we have these two, and then Kami Split then gets all of this. And that might end up happening, or we might see something where this turns into a split. The Zeppelin team just goes into Condo, maybe they fly out, or maybe they actually go back and try to hit the remainder of the Kami Split. Not sure. So we're not really sure how that's going to happen. It's going to be pretty interesting with the middle of the map. Now let's fly over here. The bridge split got buffed. Now there's this giant drill here. This is called the fortress, I'm pretty sure. There's a drill here. There's, a pad up front, some more supply crates throughout of it. Mad loot around here. Pretty good metal because of all the RVs around and in the drill as well. So this is a split that got buffed. So if you land a bridge, you're pretty happy. So you can hit kind of all of this. Even see if you can dip down into some of this or wherever. Fly over to covert. Now I'm pretty sure the llama's gone, so the llama split is pretty much gone. I mean, you're not going to split something that's not there. But what could replace it is the Zeppelin. Now covert is fucking chaotic. If you land here, good fucking luck. Because if you land on the outsides of this side here and you don't control Zeppelin, you're going to get your ass tagged the whole time. So really, if you are planning to loot the top side of covert, you need to control Zeppelin, which means that Zeppelin is going to have multiple teams fighting over here. So this is going to be contested if you want to land like outside or above covert. Now, if you're landing inside covert, doesn't really matter that much because you have to deal with other teams inside and all that stuff. Now, if you land up here, you could easily control this. You can control this. You can control the mountaintops. You have great surge because you can sit up here, sit on the mountain for surge. And then if you wanted to, you can fly out and go loot wherever. You could fly out down here, hit this. You can fly out and go key the fortress. What might end up happening is because of these Zeppelins, is that you might end up getting teams that land here, they loot it quickly, and then they fly out, and then they take all of this, or they key this team, and this team keys here. Bugle can key. There's plenty of places and plenty of options with these Zeppelins where you can do a ton of crazy shit with them. Now, next then is this place down here. I'm not sure if it has a name. Locations. So it doesn't really. This is where OMG Me 2, I think his name's just OMG, and Shadow landed. This is a pretty crazy place. There's actually are rifts over here. There are rifts as well. There are no cars, which kind of suck, but this place is actually stacked. There's a lot of brick in here, metal, wood, everything. So this place will give you cap, tons of shield. There's a fuck ton of fishing spots here, but no cars is the downside. But you do have rifts. And there are IO cars over here, so you could easily just grab a rift, hit these IO cars because there's not enough loot here for a duo, and then keep rotating in. But it's really, the biggest thing is that if you land anywhere near some of these Zeppelins, you have to kind of fuck around with it and see what happens. Okay, are people going to land here and key you at Butterburn because you're going to have way less loot than they'll have because you have so much to loot here? Or are they just going to chill and key Rocky? But if you're somewhere like Greasy, for example, nothing really changed. You have these fucking holes over here that don't really do anything, and that's really it. The only thing you have to worry about now is that whatever team is going to be rotating through here is going to be a lot more stacked than before because they have a lot more loot here. But that's really it for the map changes. I don't think anything else really happened. Spider-Mans are obviously gone, so a lot of these splits are nerfed and kind of suck, honestly. But yeah, I'm curious. Foundation statue is broken. I'm not sure if the wind around it still works. But that's really it for the changes on the map. I'm excited to watch the first tournament and see how the teams actually use the Zeppelins and all that crazy shit. So yeah, cheers.